Hey, everybody, and thank you for tuning in. I'm glad you all could be with us today. Alongside, all of you know from before, Jan from New York City.
Hey, Steve.
Hey, Jan. So, from what I understand, you've got a few tips that you would like to share.
Steve, this is based on a life experience that I had a revelation last week. And, I do enjoy those, I'm going to say the name, Stouffers Lasagna, those little individual ones. And they are delicious and they are quite handy and definitely, great for those tired nights. But they're a little costly per serving for something that's made with pasta. So, in my opinion, the cost was like between $4 and $5. And if you get like five of those, we're talking about spending $20. So it hit me like a ton of bricks. Why can't I just boil up a bunch of my favorite pasta and add my favorite ingredients that I already have on hand? So this is the whole point that I'm trying to make. We need to also consider in our stockpiles ingredients that we can build something together. Steve, by taking simple pasta, and that box of pasta I paid less than $1 for, as opposed to the $2.79 that some people ask for. I paid less than $1 for that box of elbows. Why elbows? Because it distributes easily. And I already had some plastic containers. So what I did was I boiled my pasta. I had pre-made sauce already. Saves, a lot of time, effort, and energy that way. And I got that for a good price. So I put the pre-made sauce on the elbow pasta, and I entered some. What did I do? This sounds really crazy, Steve. I took good quality Frankfurters. I only buy good quality. And I love this brand, Hebrew National. It's really good. So I sliced them up thinly, and I cooked them like nice and crispy and caramelized. And I cut them into tiny pieces. I put that with that tomato sauce. It gives it a little bit of a smoky pop, something like a pepperoni flair to it. So that's what I did without the burn. And then I put a little bit, I had a handful of shredded mozzarella. I already had these ingredients. There was nothing that I had to go out of my mind for. I had every ingredient. So all these ingredients were available. And instead of spending $25 for a few of those little individual things, because I had those plastic containers, it only cost me like a fraction. So I think the whole thing cost me, if I added everything up, somewhere about $6 or $8 for 5 individual containers, of which I froze. And I like my convenience food, except I manufactured it myself. And a person could easily do that with mac and cheese. You can make a whole bunch of it so easily, so cheaply. But here's one of the most important points, Steve. I do believe in investing in certain things. Invest in a few of those nice plastic containers, those food savers, the ones that are freezable. It is worth the initial investment. You can easily get those in a dollar type store. Also, pay attention to the stuff you have at home. Some of those deli meats that you buy in advance, for example, there's a certain company, Hillshire Farms, I believe, actually, that they have really great food saver containers. Don't throw away those. So anything like that, keep, and you can manufacture, as I call it, your own convenience food. You know what's in it. You could save a ton of cash doing it. It is so worth it. And Steve, I do have one more bullet point that I'd like to mention about ground beef. When you buy ground beef, don't wait too long. Take it out of the original container and cook it down. Cook it in your skillet, into the crumbles, and then drain any fat out of it because, you don't want to keep the fat. You don't have to have the fat. I always get 90% or a little more than that. I don't like a lot of fat in my food. That's the way I roll with that. Season it up. You can make as much or as little as you want. What I like to do is take those cooked crumbles, let it cool down. Sometimes I like to have onion or just use seasonings, which is so much easier, really is. And then just cool down, divide it up into little pouches. Put those pouches in my freezer. You can keep all those pouches in one bigger, like a Ziploc type of bag, and you have them ready. So if you want to, quote, manufacture your own future meals, whatever those meals may be, you could just take those crumbles down and use them as you want. Steve, you know what else I did with those crumbles? One night I felt like a cheeseburger. So I took down my pre-made crumbles and I just, all I did was put it in a skillet to heat up. I put some American cheese on top and some other things. And even though it was like a loose sandwich, it was still basically a cheeseburger. And I put it on a hamburger roll. So fast, so easy, so convenient. And can I tell you, you save time, effort, energy, cleanup, and ultimately money. So it just takes a slight amount of effort. Steve, I understand that you have a mention of a certain app that would be very helpful to a bunch of people.
Yes, I do. I have, there is an app that you can get from the Play Store, absolutely free, does not cost a cent. You can use it anywhere. It's called Providers. It's a round orange circle with a little green stem. I think it's in the shape of an orange or a peach. I really don't know. Probably closer to an orange. And you can go and it'll tell you when you get your next pending date is going to be, how much you have left. If you look at it, you can tap on the last amount you spent. When you tap on that, it gives you a breakdown of all you spent throughout the month. Um, it gives you the ability to go on there to let you know if there's going to be any changes coming up in your area that has to do with benefits. It's very well laid out. It tells you about, this is another good one, if I may throw in. We, you know, we know of people that do it. I myself do it. I'm just going to come out and say it, that for those that have an EBT card or SNAP, you can go to, and no, I'm not a sponsored ad, but I'll mention their name. You can go to Amazon, and with your EBT card, you can set it up to where you only pay half price a month
Amazing.
for your membership. And I'll tell you right now, you can go and order something one time through Prime, and you've pretty much made your money back on the shipping. I mean,
Wow. That is a really good feature. Probably a lot of people are not aware of those features.
so yeah, it's not a hard thing to do. You go on there. There's a couple of steps you have to go through. You got to take a picture of your EBT to, to
And then they would verify it, assumingly.
exactly.
Oh,
And then it just takes a few minutes. I'd say 30 minutes or less. Probably not even that. But then that gives you the ability to be able to go on there with tax. I think it's like $7.06 a month to have full access to Prime.
you know something, Steve? It's beautiful that you're mentioning these apps of which a person can track down their spending activities, like the first one that you mentioned. Okay. There's a show that I briefly mentioned it to my viewers, but I get really into it next week. And let's just say that there's a gentleman, a YouTuber, that really like pretty much dissects a person's spending habits. A lot of people go into tremendous debt. And you want to know one of the biggest reasons that I have observed? Now, I could be wrong, but in my observation of the few people that this gentleman has interviewed, it's almost to me a similar issue all the time. People do not know their numbers. Like let's say if anybody's like checking somebody's budget over to help them create a budget. Okay, so how much do you get? I couldn't believe this, Steve. Some people do not even know their annual salary. Some people do not know their imagine this, Steve, their pre-tax salary. To me, a basic informational question. I'm like sitting there like, really? Like, I can understand maybe some people are a little confused about their after tax type thing, but then again, not really, because people today generally have their checks deposited showing their net pay.
Yeah.
So I'm like, I kind of just don't get it, because the ability to obtain that information today is so readily available. There's no excuse.
Yeah. I mean, if you think about, as
Excuse me
far
one
as,
moment. I'll be right with you. Sorry, Steve.
I'm just going to go ahead.
I'm back.
All right.
That was a YouTuber.
Oh, okay.
Okay.
I know who the YouTuber is. I'm very
Yes,
well aware.
yes, I know.
Um,
So
what
let's go back to what we were saying.
what I was about to say, I didn't lose my train of thought.
Good.
There are yes, people do direct deposit. Go to a financial institution, your money's there, clockwork. I know that there's other methods for people that don't have a financial institution, but I think in a way it still works like it. They can load money onto a card each month, and it just comes off the card. I know
Yeah,
it's not a debit,
yeah.
but I'm pretty sure I don't know how many would want to still do it. Not that there's anything wrong with it, but you do. I'm pretty sure you do have a select few that's still like an old-fashioned paper check. Not that there's anything wrong with that. I mean, but think about the steps too. You got to get the check. You got to.
It's too
But
much
now,
work. A
but
person can
now,
lose the check. I mean, this is my opinion. I'm with you on that.
well, there is one advantage to this: mobile banking. You
Yeah,
turn it over, sign it. You
yeah,
know, you take a picture of the front and back, and usually, if it can be approved and it can be put in your account in
yeah.
less than an hour a lot of the time. So, but years ago, you didn't have that. You physically had to go stand in line and cash it.
And if you didn't get to, and when I was a kid, if you didn't get to the bank by 3 o'clock, which is laughable today, by 3 o'clock, sorry, see you tomorrow. You better be there by 9. Yeah, 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 yeah. There's no excuse. Today, those apps, they could be so helpful. I'm glad that you had mentioned that before. But you know what, Steve? Getting into another thing that shocked me about people that I just have to mention this, if you don't mind, that run into debt problem. Oh my word. The level of eating out, Steve, that people are eating, dining out all the time. Because this gentleman goes through people's list and it's just, and they're like,
Yeah.
they don't know where their money's going. How can you live like that? Not know.
Well, you know, I'll give well, this will actually probably lead into the other segment that we're going to speak about is sometimes depending on where you go and get eat out, where you eat out. Now, I'll phrase it this way: takeout. Like you go there and they give you a thing of a plastic white container that you open up that's got full food in it. Sometimes, depending on the amount of food they give you, you can actually eat off of what they give you more than once.
Yes, I love that.
So, Chinese food is one of those. Sometimes I've been known to go to a barbecue place and you get excess. So you might pay 10, 11, $12, whatever the price. Well, Chinese would be a little lower, but probably around 10. But every time you eat off of that food, break it down in price.
That's right.
So if you spend $10 on, say, a serving of some type of lo mein or a good fried rice, a lot of the time I can eat fried rice 2 times, usually.
Yes.
So if I spend $10, that's 5 and 5. Not too bad.
Right.
But if I can get a third time out of it, then it breaks down to like what? Three something, 335,
So you're maximizing what you spent. Where there are some people, they'll eat like 2 little things of it, throw it away. Yes, there are
no,
people, not me. There are people that do things like that. I don't believe in food
no.
waste. I think it's
I'm a
too
firm believer in waste not, want not. I really am. No,
okay.
because you have people, and I say it all the time. I tell people, do you realize how many people out there that are hungry that can't afford to even go and buy a piece of candy? I'm just using that as an example. Would give their left arm to have what you just threw out.
Exactly. Exactly. Oh, Steve, another thing I noticed that you will not believe. A lot of the people that were interviewed by this gentleman that they're all racked up into debt. Guess what? These are highly salaried people. I'm like, wait a minute. How is it possible that so many low income people can manage what they have as best as possible and then even come out with a little extra? Where some people are extremely highly salaried people. And I'm like, it's reckless. The behavior is completely reckless. The constant eating out, affording things maybe way beyond what they, living way beyond their means. I mean, I'm not criticizing, anyone. I care about everybody, but I just think it's a sad state of affairs. If you're getting like a lot of income, you're just like being so careless and reckless.
Hmm. Yeah. Oh, I meant to mention, coming back, you had mentioned containers. Here's an example.
Yes,
I got
yes,
I got three of these. This is just one size, but I got these at the dollar store. Um,
yes,
a dollar
perfect.
25. And I will tell you, you have to be careful which ones you pick, because I like one. These are good because these do snap in place when you put the lid on. It does.
Yeah.
There's a couple at the dollar store that are real flimsy, that if
Oh,
you're not careful when you pick it up, it'll drop out of your hand.
oh no, no, no. Get the better ones. I mean, there are
Yeah,
times you really need to like spend like investing in a better quality container. Sure beats wasting your money out eating out dinner
this
every night
one,
outside.
this one is McCormick brand, but I think they do have Betty Crocker over there, and I thought I saw Rubbermaid. So those three are going to be decent names. This other
Absolutely.
one was good something. Good and fresh, and it has a green. Stay
Oh,
away by all
oh,
means.
oh, 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 oh,
Avoid.
like a knockoff type one.
You
No,
can buy it, you'll be sorry. That's all I'm going to tell you.
right.
I'm just going by my personal use of having it.
Like for cold, in my opinion, for cold foods that you're never gonna, I mean, refrigerated food saving, fine. Freezer ones, you got to be careful, especially when you want to like invest in the type that you can microwave. Do those say microwave safe? The better ones probably do.
I've used these in the microwave.
Oh, that's wonderful. And that looks like brand new, by the way.
Well, matter of fact, it is. I haven't had it that long. It does say down here, remove lid before placing in microwave. So it's at
Right.
the bottom. You got to read it. It's very small. But yes, I don't see why it wouldn't be microwave safe. It's plastic. So I mean, is that
Yes. Steve, a 16-ounce box of pasta. I was talking about pasta a few times on my no frills videos recently. A 16-ounce box of pasta, I believe, serves 5. I have to review it. It's either 5 or 6. Just imagine 5 servings for, let's say, $1 if you get a great price on it, okay? Versus $4 and change for basically pasta, and tomato sauce is inexpensive. And whatever you want to throw on. Put it together, assemble 5, put it away, freeze it, done deal.
Now I will tell you this. Sometimes store brand pasta, for example, because it's 98 cents a box, and I've bought it, and it's not bad. Great Value, which is Walmart brand. That's about the only pasta you're going to get these days for about $1.
Yeah.
I have been known to come across Muller's or Ronzoni, Barilla, which is okay. I have come across pastas like that you might come across it for about $1.30, $1.40 a box. But $1 is not always that easy to come across. If you do, definitely stock up.
Yes.
I myself, out of a 16-ounce box, I can get 3 servings. That's me, though. I mean, everybody's appetite's different.
Right.
And that's basing it on a box of vermicelli, just to give you an example. Tomato sauce, at the wholesale club, I prefer other brands, but I bought Bertolli. No, was it Bertolli? Let me take a look. I think Bertolli. I just had to take a quick look. I paid about 5 and some change for 3 bottles, but I had a coupon. There's normally 7 or right around 7. So I had a coupon, so I got that bottle sauce cheap, like 2 cents.
Wow. That's great.
So I definitely don't rule out shopping at a wholesale club. Some people it's a yay, some people it's a nay. I guess it really depends on your living situation. I have found it to fit me.
Right. So, I mean, there's nothing wrong with the idea of having, quote, convenience foods. Try to make them yourself, manufacture it yourself easily. All you have to do is assemble them. You can even make your easy bagel pizza so easy. Get frozen bagels at a good price or whatever, on sale, day old, whatever. Just put your sauce, put your cheese, wrap it, freeze it, done, nuke it, done. I mean, we could do those things so cheaply and easily because you're getting two pizzas from one bagel, if you will.
Yeah. Well, you do have a thing out there. I saw it in the store. You would just be creating your own version, but less. Bagel Bites. You have one.
Yes.
So, well, actually, yours would not be a bite size. It would actually be a full size.
No, unless you buy like mini bagels. I mean, there's so many variations. These are just like little ideas, foods that can be assembled on the cheap quickly, but put away for the future. And that way you don't have that mess again. You're making the mess once. I have no problem with batch cooking. Like some
No,
people, oh, batch cooking is so dreadful. No, it's not. You could take two slow cookers, right, Steve, at the same time, make two completely different meals going at the same time,
okay.
and you could just spread them out for the week.
Well, people also forget too. Batch cooking. Yeah, it may be a little bit hard or a little bit at that moment, but look at what you have longevity.
Yes.
If you can have meals for the next 5 or 6 days, all you got to do is grab and heat.
Yes.
Voila! You don't have to
Correct.
sit there and cook each one, each one, each one, each one. So that no batch cooking. If you got the time and place to do it, and definitely invest in that. It pays for itself in the long run.
It
People,
really does. And when you set it up in the slow cooker, you go on with your life. You did what you
oh
had
yeah,
to do for the slow cooker for X number. And Steve, yours automatically shuts off, right?
mine is a 4.5 quart, and it's a touchpad. So whatever I set it on, I can leave. I could go shopping or do whatever I have. I could be gone for 3 or 4 hours. And when mine reaches its full cooking time, it throws itself over to the warm setting automatically. I don't
Wonderful.
have to do a thing. So when I come back, it'll be just in the warm setting. So it's all ready. Just open the lid and I can just serve myself. It's no, I don't have the turn type. The turn type, unfortunately, you don't have that
No, you
flexibility.
got to babysit that. I love it. I have one. It's old fashioned, but you got to be there to shut it off.
Where are you gonna burn your food? I know.
No,
I know.
I know. I love yours. I think eventually I'll, cave in and, get me the other one. They're not expensive. That's the beauty part. I mean, they're not expensive. Talk about a nice gift for someone. A lot of people like those instant pots, and they are great and everything. I have no problem with that. But for me personally, I'm just happy with my good old. But batch cooking does not have to be the disaster that a lot of people seem to think it
The
is. But
Instant Pot, which is the same thing as a pressure cooker.
yeah,
I've got one of those too. I had mentioned this in the past, but I don't have it in my possession now, but I do have one. Does the food come out good? Yes. What that does is it will allow you to let a food that would take 2.5, 3 hours to cook normally, you can do it within a 30-minute period in a slow cooker. Oh no, the food comes out tremendous, but there are a couple steps you got to follow. You got to put the lid on, it's got to build up pressure, and it counts down. Then you got to release the pressure, make sure you have an open space because it's air that's shooting out. Um,
and because it is the weekend, everyone, I strongly advise. This time I'll say advise. Go in the refrigerator. Are there things that you like may be going bad soon? Put them all together. Dump them in your slow cooker. You got a casserole, a soup, or a stew for
there's
free.
nothing wrong with repurposing. In
Oh,
fact, I'm about to redo that recipe that I did with the cube steak. Now I'm doing it with a prime rib steak burger. I don't know how good it's going to turn out. I'll find out. But what I did, and I'm going to do it again, is the cream of celery and cream of chicken soup broth. I put it in a bowl and I put it in the fridge. And I wound up reincorporating it or repurposing, and I used it in rice aroni.
oh
And
my
that
gosh.
gives it another depth of flavor. So
That sounds so good.
if you've got a beef or a chicken flavor, that's just going to add more depth. Well, it doesn't matter what flavor you have, but it's going to give it more texture, more flavor. It's good. And then if you want to add any vegetable to it, you could, and then just dress it up. You could, the sky's the limit with that.
That's why it doesn't pay to always eat out, eat out. With all these beautiful, wonderful options we have with foods, We could put our own creativity
Yeah.
together. It's like a little bit of a proud feeling too when the meal comes out good. It's just you feel so good. When I looked at all the manufactured meals that I had made, I was proud of myself saving 20, 25 bucks that way, but
Hmm.
still getting my convenience food and only one mess. So it really worked out.
Hmm. No, because there's definitely little different things that you can do. A couple of tips. I've shared them before. In fact, I think I might have caught a woman's attention when I went shopping at Costco a couple of days ago. I was with my friend and I said, "See that bag of powdered sugar?" Yeah. I said, "You see regular granulated right here?" Yeah. I said, "Did you know if you take that sugar, the granulated, run it through a blender, NutriBullet or a chopper, for a few seconds, you'll have powdered sugar?" She went like that. So apparently she must have not known that. But yes, why pay that extra $6 or $7 for like a 15 or 20 pound bag or whatever size bag powdered sugar? I didn't really pay all that mind to it. Well, for one, I wouldn't need that amount of powdered sugar because I don't make that amount of baked goods anyway. No, I don't make a lot of sweets, you know. So that would work better for me to use regular granulated sugar, use a small amount to put, because if you're a bakery or someplace, okay, fine. You're constantly,
You're right.
rotating.
Use it as you go along, as
Yeah.
you need it, unless you're like making tons and tons of stuff. I agree with you.
And another one, if you want to make like oatmeal, cream of wheat, any type of hot cereal, um, I've done it with pancake mixes before. You can always use flavored liquid powdered creamer in that.
Nice.
Vanilla always works good.
That'll emulsify it and give it more flavor.
Right. Butter pecan is another. The only flavor I don't think well, unless you like to go this direction, I'm not saying it's bad. I have used it in hot chocolate, but that's about it. I wouldn't recommend the chocolate flavored creamer. I'm not saying you couldn't use it. Now, if you like chocolate, that's one thing, but I would just stick with,
Yeah.
mild vanilla, butter pecan, your common, more well known.
That reminds me of a recent upload that I had on my No Frills video show about, like, let's say a family made evaporate, the evaporate, not evaporate milk, excuse me, the instant non-fat powdered milk, and like maybe the kids didn't like it in its natural state. Some people don't. Not to throw it out, whatever you do.
No,
Enter a couple of capfuls of vanilla
vanilla.
extract and a few teaspoons, maybe three, of sugar, granulated sugar. It tastes just like the bottom of the cereal bowl. It is so.
Yeah. Well, when I myself, I do like non-fat powdered milk. I really don't mind it because when it comes to making coffee, I can use just about anything. I'm not particular. Even though I mentioned liquid creamer, yeah, but I'll use regular milk, powdered creamer. I'll use just about anything, the non-fat dry. I've never done it with the sugar like you're mentioning. I have done non-fat dry milk as it is. I have used a little bit of vanilla, but that's as far as I've ever gone.
This is such a treat.
If
It
you
was
mix,
so
if
good.
you mix non-fat dry milk correctly, if you do it, you know, and you with or without the vanilla, I've always done it a lot of the time without, and you can get it really, really cold. It tastes just like what you buy in the store, but cheap.
Amazing. Totally
And
amazing.
milk, regular milk can run you some money. If you're not careful, you can spend $5 and $6 for a gallon of milk.
Right. It's good to have that, as an emergency, the instant non-fat milk, or use it for recipes. Some people want to drink it, but they don't mind reconstituting it for recipes, and that's fine too. So whatever you could do to stretch.
Yeah,
Although lately, instant non-fat milk, the prices are, debatable too because of
yeah,
situations right now. But hopefully everything will level off one day.
right. Like now, I have noticed a little bit of a drop in the price of eggs.
Thank God.
So I just recently bought 18 egglins for like 4.39, which is not bad,
No.
really. because I'm a big egg lover because it was, and I'm hoping it'll return back to that.
They are a great quality. I mean, you get what you pay for in life
Well,
sometimes.
not
It's
just
really good.
egglins in general, but an egg specifically, because
Yes,
it was at one time one of the lesser expensive ways to get protein in your system.
absolutely.
But hopefully those days. Well, I do remember when a dozen eggs was less than $1, but hopefully that'll return. But who knows?
That would be amazing.
Um, what else did I want to mention? My other only tip, because I know I'm a little bit in tangents, and that's okay because I know you guys love
No,
to.
I think you're pretty good, Steve, from based on what we went over in the green room earlier.
Well, the only yeah the well I had just mentioned powdered creamer. If you ever have a soup that you want to give it a little bit more of emulsification or whatever you want to call it, throw a couple spoons of powdered creamer in. It's going to help. And I'll tell you something else. I myself, whenever I do a cup of hot chocolate, I like it with milk. But
Yes.
milk is not always possible. Throw a couple of 3 heaping teaspoons of powdered creamer in with it. That's going to
I
give
don't
you
drink it without powdered creamer. For some reason, I love my hot chocolate with the powdered creamer. You are right.
it gives it. I mean, nothing beats milk, but if you don't have it, the other way doesn't.
Also, Steve, I think you might have mentioned this in a past video about instant potato flakes as a natural thickener to certain things.
Potato
Like,
soup.
yeah. Huh?
And I've got a recipe for that. All you got to do is actually, you know what? What I've been doing lately. I'm just going to share with all of you because I want to make all of you well known. I have I did it as an experiment on Tuesday, and I want to do it again. I set up old videos that I had made a year and a half, 2 years back. That's just sitting there. I have scheduled it to go up at a certain time in my community tab. I just recently did that with my banana pudding or my vanilla custard recipe. I will more than likely go ahead and bring up the potato soup recipe where I use those potato flakes to thicken, but you got to watch when you thicken it. As it's cooking, you don't want to thicken it a lot in the course of cooking. You want to leave it a little bit like a gravy consistency because as that soup cools off, it will thicken by itself.
Yeah, you got to keep an eye out on it.
If you don't do that, you're going to have mashed potatoes. I'm just giving you a heads up. But I will be putting, that's going to be the next video I put up. I'm not certain when, but I would like to try again and see what kind of feedback I get. So,
Good. That
mhm,
sounds good.
yeah. All right, Janet, this was a good lineup. Glad we were able to
Yeah,
come out and do this, and hopefully the tips that we gave, was very helpful to all of you.
I
So,
hope so too.
me too. All right. I hope everybody has a great Saturday, a good weekend, and as always, be on the lookout for us. We'll be back next week at 1:30. I hope everybody has a good one. We'll see you then. Bye.
Bye.